You are lying in bed at 3 a.m. Your room is completely silent. Yet inside your head, a deafening replay of a minor mistake you made 3 years ago is playing on an infinite, agonizing loop. Your body is exhausted. Why won't your mind just let it go? You try to close your eyes. You breathe slowly and deeply. But your brain refuses to cooperate, dragging you back to that unresolved argument, that half-finished email, or that project you put off. The mental noise is relentless. Why does your brain hate your peace? It is not a design flaw. It is a psychological trap. This agonizing state of mental loop is actually a powerful cognitive phenomenon known to modern science as the Zeigarnik Effect. Your brain is holding you hostage. How did we become wired this way? Our story begins in Berlin. The year is 1927. A brilliant young Soviet psychologist named Bluma Zeigarnik sat in a crowded, noisy university cafe watching the local waiters work. She noticed something very strange. What did she see in their behavior? The waiters were incredibly efficient. They remembered every complex order. A single waiter could recall 12 different meals, drinks, and special requests without writing down a single word on paper. Their memory was flawless. But how long did it last? The moment changed very quickly. The bill was finally paid. Once the transaction was complete, the waiters completely forgot the entire order as if it had never existed in their minds. They could recall nothing. Why did their memory wipe clean? Zeigarnik was absolutely fascinated. She designed a laboratory study. She gave participants various simple tasks, like solving puzzles, stringing beads, or completing clay sculptures, and then interrupted half of them. She stopped them mid-task. What do you think happened next? The results were incredibly clear. The interrupted participants remembered twice as much. Those who were prevented from finishing their puzzles could recall the details of their tasks far better than those who completed them. The unfinished tasks clung on. Why did incomplete work dominate their minds? An unfinished task creates tension. It is an open loop. Your subconscious brain hates incomplete narratives, so it holds on to the unresolved task like a tightly coiled metal spring. It keeps the file open. Can you feel that tension right now? This is an evolutionary survival tool. Our ancestors needed this drive. If an early human was interrupted while gathering food or building shelter, they needed an internal alarm to force them to finish. It kept our ancestors alive. But how does it affect you today? Modern life is completely different. We have infinite open loops. Instead of hunting a single animal, you are managing 50 emails, 3 different group chats, and a dozen half-formed worries about your career. Nothing is ever truly finished. How is your brain supposed to rest? Your brain keeps working constantly. It runs in the background. Every unfinished task is like an open tab on a web browser, silently consuming your mental battery until your system starts to crash. You feel mentally exhausted. Does your mind feel cluttered right now? Technology companies understand this secret. They exploit your cognitive loop. The little red dot on your app icon or the unread email notification is designed specifically to trigger this evolutionary tension in your mind. It forces you to click. How many open notifications do you have? Every feed is an endless road. There is no natural end. By removing pagination and letting you scroll forever, social media platforms ensure that your brain never reaches a satisfying completion point. You are caught in a loop. Why can you never seem to stop? Overthinking is just an open loop. It is an unbilled receipt. When you replay an awkward conversation from years ago, your brain is trying to find a resolution that simply does not exist. It is seeking a closing. Will a loop ever close on its own? We call this seeking closure. We crave a final conversation. When a relationship ends abruptly without explanation, your brain keeps spinning because the cognitive file was slammed shut but never properly finalized. You replay every single detail. Are you still trying to solve it? There is a sister concept here. It is called attention residue. When you quickly check a notification and then return to your work, your focus does not switch back immediately to your primary task. Part of your mind stays behind. Why do we keep dividing our focus? Your attention remains split. The cognitive residue lingers. Because the notification created a mini open loop, your brain continues to process that quick distraction even while you try to write or study. Your performance drops significantly. Is your work truly getting your best? We face social loops too. We leave chats on read. Every unreplied message on your phone is a tiny social commitment that your brain is actively tracking throughout your busy day. The background processes never stop. Can you feel the digital noise? This constant activity causes damage. It drains your decision energy. When your brain is busy tracking 40 different unfinished conversations, tasks, and relationships, you lose the ability to focus on the present. Your mental stamina decays rapidly. Do you find it hard to concentrate? You can break this cycle. You must close the loops. The simplest and most effective way to quiet an overactive mind is to transfer the thoughts from your head onto a physical piece of paper. You must write them down. Why is this simple act so powerful? Your brain cannot tell difference. Paper feels like completion. When you write a plan or list your worries, your subconscious brain feels the relief of a waiter who has finally delivered the bill. The tension is immediately released. Can you feel the weight lifting already? Science confirms this daily practice. Researchers have proven its power. A study showed that writing down a specific to-do list before bed helped participants fall asleep twice as fast as those who did not. It triggers the biological system. Isn't it time to use this trick? Start with a brain dump. Do it every evening. Take 5 minutes before you sleep to write down every single unfinished task, every worry, and every small chore that is lingering in your mind. Empty your mental browser. What will you put on paper first? Do not just list tasks. Write down a clear step. Instead of writing down a massive, intimidating goal like start business, write down research 3 website names on Google for 20 minutes. Specificity is the secret key. Can you make your plan simpler? Your brain needs a path. It demands a clear plan. When you define the exact next action, your mind stops spinning because it believes the task is already being handled by your future self. The cognitive alarm shuts off. Are you ready to turn off the noise? Complete some small tasks. Do them very quickly. If a task takes less than 2 minutes, like taking out the trash or replying to a text, do it immediately to prevent an open loop. Protect your mental space. Why let tiny chores accumulate? You are in control now. You understand the biological alarm. Overthinking is not a permanent personality defect, but rather a simple sign that your brain is trying to protect you from unfinished business. It is trying to help. Will you listen to it differently now? The night is still quiet. The hours are ticking by. But instead of fighting the endless currents of your own mind, you now possess the direct key to quiet the storm before it starts. You hold the paper. Are you ready to let go? The clock strikes 3 a.m. Your mind is completely still. You look at the empty notebook on your nightstand, knowing that every single open loop has been safely written down and put to rest. Your eyes grow heavy, and you are finally lying in bed.